name is Myles. I'm 18 years old, and I'm addicted to crack cocaine and heroin. I grew up in a single-parent household in the project with my mother who was addicted to cocaine. She had 16 years clean, but relapsed when I was young. I remember waking up for school, and she would be in bed all day sick. I was not her number one priority. She would have random men in and out of the house all the time. Every other day, she would go to party with the neighbors. Her addictive lifestyle became normal to me. I had to learn to grow up very fast. I had to fend for myself, and I was in complete survival mode. The childhood I had was not normal. I began acting out at school. I would get in fights, and I started smoking weed and drinking at a very young age. I was constantly getting suspended so I could stay at home and be by myself. I never felt like I fit in anywhere. I was continually sexually abused by my best friend's older brother, and I went on not telling anybody because of the shame that I had. I felt like it was my fault, and I didn't realize that it was a traumatic experience as I was so young. I then went on to hang out with older men, and I have sex with older men because I feel that that's the only way that I could get any form of attention and affection was if I slept with them. I used drugs as an escape from reality. I felt like the world was a fucked up place to live in, and the only thing that made me feel better was numbing out my emotions. My mom brought me to a few 12-step meetings, but never stuck around. I felt that I couldn't recover. I couldn't picture my life without drugs. I was in such denial about my addiction that I wouldn't identify myself as an addict. My addiction progressed very quickly. I was introduced to crack cocaine and heroin when I was 12, and I began using needles. I became mentally and physically dependent on drugs, and I couldn't go through the day without getting my fix. At 13, I began prostituting. I was self-harming, and I had a binge purge eating disorder. I had no self-worth or self-respect. I spent a lot of time at CHEO. I was always in their emergency room for trying to kill myself. I saw no hope in my life, and I thought that my addiction was the only way that I can live, and that I would rather die than suffer the despair and hopelessness. I got kicked out and ran away constantly. I spent my nights in crack houses and on park benches. I was living a very dangerous lifestyle, waking up not knowing where I was, passing out with strangers, having unprotected sex with anybody who would provide me with money or drugs. I used dirty needles, and I didn't care whether I lived or died. The only thing important to me was drugs. I didn't care who I had to steal from, who I had to manipulate, or what I had to do to get them. It was a vicious cycle of being awake for days and sleeping for days, the constant battle in my mind on whether I should kill myself or hold on. I would feel hurt, used to numb the pain, and then my high would go away, and I'd feel ashamed for using in the first place. I felt ashamed about my past, and I felt ashamed for the way I was living. I got into a relationship with someone in recovery who had 4 years clean, and I found my way back to 12-step meetings. I then accepted the fact that my addiction was killing me and that I needed help. There were no institutions or treatment centers that I could access to get the help that I needed until I was 16. I couldn't go to detox. Most treatment centers are 18 plus, and the only youth treatment center completely dismissed my addiction. I had people tell me that I wasn't bad enough or that I was too young to be an addict, that it was just a phase. So on my 16th birthday, I went to the young women's shelter to clean up my life. I stayed there for 11 months until I got an offer for an apartment. I went from homeless to getting a place of my own that I still live in today. Getting sober was one of the hardest things that I've had to do, but definitely the most rewarding. At one point, I had 14 months clean. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot of different skills to help me cope. I learned that I was worthy of recovery and that it could be possible for me, but only if I put the work into it. I am worthy of dignity and respect. To get where I am today, I had to do a lot of self-assessment and gain an understanding of my patterns and my behaviors. In June, I lost my best friend to this disease. The pain of losing someone so close to me was unexplainable. I was extremely vulnerable, and I put myself in a situation where people were intoxicated, and I didn't have the willpower to say no. I saw firsthand how quick my addiction can take off, how just one bad choice can ruin my life. I realized that it wasn't a matter of what drugs I was taking, but a problem with me. I didn't want to be another statistic. I had a little glimpse of hope that I could still be a success story and I could live to tell it. I shortly realized that I had to get sober again to maintain the life that I've built for myself in recovery, and I could only get sober for myself. I'm grateful to be 4 months clean and advocating for young people in recovery. My life is completely turned around, and I've had my own apartment for 1.5 years. I work a good job with benefits, and my relationship with my mother is stronger than ever. I wake up today and I don't think about getting high. I don't think about killing myself anymore. I can feel uncomfortable feelings and be vulnerable and be honest with others about how I am feeling. The opposite of addiction is connection, and I'm willing to get outside my comfort zone and try new things. I accept that I don't know everything. I take every situation and experience as an opportunity to grow and learn new things. I try things that work for others with the hope that maybe it can work for me too. I can use my voice today. I have morals and values, and I can stick up for myself and for what I believe in. I can tell people when something they say or do hurts me, and I'm able to say no. I'm grateful to be able to share my message of hope, even if only one person gets something out of it. I'm grateful to believe in God and to have faith that my life is exactly where it needs to be. I can truly say that I have a future, and I genuinely believe that. I'm no longer running from my disease. To me, courage means being afraid and doing it anyways. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. It doesn't matter your race, your sexual identity, or your religion. Addiction doesn't discriminate, and neither does recovery. And I'm a prime example that recovery is possible. Thanks, John, for asking me to speak, and have a 24.